Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Season 22 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series presented by Performa Texas Elite Graphics. I'm Greg Ginsberg, and joining me in the commentary booth as always is Larry Lefty McLeod, and tonight we have, and we're going to have for the next couple of weeks, John Robertson joining us in the virtual production truck, bringing you all the best camera angles and action that Apex Racing TV is known for. So after enduring perhaps the longest 30-minute race in the history of the Classic Sprint Series at Suzuka for round number 2. For round 3, we head back to the United States in a sleepy little village in New York's Finger Lakes that held its first Grand Prix 70 years ago on the town streets, and whose purpose-built circuits constructed just a few years later became the first permanent home of the United States Formula One Grand Prix. It's a venue known as much for its speed as for the blue Armco that still rings the track, much as it did when our drivers' heroes like Mario Andretti, Jackie Stewart, and Francois Servet sought the ultimate pace, and in some cases may have paid the ultimate price. And so tonight we travel to the mecca of North American road racing, and it's 3.4 miles of power and fury for a 60-minute MX-5 Battle Royale. Welcome everybody to Watkins Glen International. And so Larry, good evening to you as well, and after taking a long week off, long time no see.
It has. It feels like it's been hours, Greg. But yeah, you just had PTSD from the Suzuka race a couple weeks back, yes. And the race that seemed to never want to start tonight. Let's hope everything's going to be good to go. In fact, you and I were just talking about a real life race that happened last week, and it was eerily similar, just would never end. But yes. Tonight, I'm looking forward to it. As you know, Watkins Glen in my top 3 tracks in the world. Love this place, and I think in these cars, it races very well. Difficult to pass, but opportunities for side-by-side racing all over the place, and I think that makes for a really exciting event. Love the blue Armco. What can I say?
Yeah, Larry. And so quickly, before we get to tonight's track guide, I want to explain. So 2 weeks ago, we were at Suzuka, and we were supposed to run the Suzuka West course. Well, unbeknownst to us, the Classic Sprint Series too big for Suzuka West, and it took a couple tries for us to figure that out. So we ended up running. We were supposed to have rounds 2 and 3 on Suzuka West, and unfortunately, we ended up with one single 30-minute race on the full Suzuka course, which really threw I think, a monkey wrench into some of our drivers' testing schedule. But unfortunately, we are going to be dropping the season. There's not going to be a makeup, to the best of my knowledge, for that missed round at Suzuka. So this season going to be 9 rounds instead of 10. But Larry, let's try and put Suzuka in the rearview mirror. And tonight, focus on Watkins Glen. And what a better way to do that than to turn things over to Kevin Ford, who's going to give us tonight's track guide of beautiful Watkins Glen International.
Welcome, everyone, to beautiful Watkins Glen International. Great to have you with us as we provide you your track guide today around this 3.4-mile incredible road course. We're just down the road from Lake Seneca, a few clouds in the sky. Beautiful day for a track guide. Here we go, heading down the front straightaway. You'll notice our main pit entrance to the right, our main grandstands to the left as we head down this medium-sized front straightaway here as we cross the stripe, go underneath the flag stand, and head down into this very difficult turn 1. This is an elbow, or what they like to refer to as an elbow. It's a bit of a very tight 90 right-hander. A little bit of room to track out there, but you do have to get that car back inside that curbing as we head up through turn 2, up through the famous uphill S's here at the Glen. Around turn 3 to the left here. We'll hug that corner coming out of 4. Try to get a good run up the backstretch. We'll get up into 5th gear, and this will take us down to the bus stop. Pretty fast little S-curve here, you'll notice, as we approach and come down into 4th gear here upon entry. Let that car roll across those curbs, get right back to throttle, come up out of the bus stop, and then we'll head down into the famous carousel. Turn 5 here at the Glen. Get a good run up out of the carousel. We'll track out wide, keep that momentum up. These cars are all about momentum. Down into turn 6 here. We'll come out of 6. We'll have a little short shoot down here. You will see some overtaking opportunities that take place coming into turn 7 here. Coming into the boot now. This is the toe. We'll be approaching the heel down here. This will be turn 8. Another little short shoot here. You will see some passing coming down into this corner. Some drivers do like to overtake on entry here. A little bit deep on entry. Come up off of this corner. This will bring us up to the re-entry of the main course. Turn 9. Get that car to rotate. Take it right out to the curb. Get a good launch as we head up towards turn 10. Very fast sweeping left-hander here. We'll get up into 4th gear. We'll keep it planted to the floor all the way around this corner. And we'll drop it down a gear, light brush of the brake, throw it into the apex, come right back to throttle and up off the exit. Out of the final corner here at Watkins Glen International. Thank you for being with us. There you go. There's your track guide.
All right, and welcome back. Thank you so much to Kevin Ford for tonight's track guide of a track that so many of us know so well, Watkins Glen International. And so we are just now getting underway with our 15-minute qualifying session here at Watkins Glen. It's a 15-minute lone qualifying session, which means we send our drivers out. They have the track essentially all to themselves, and they get 4 flying laps in order to set their fastest time, which they'll take to set the grid for tonight's very first race, Larry. And again, a 60-minute race to the checkered flag this evening. All right, so let's do this. As we only have, I believe, 1 or 2 cars out on track right now. Actually, more than 1 or 2. Looks like most of the field now has gone out on track and has just left the pit lane. Let's do this. Let's take a look back 2 weeks ago when we ran the entire Suzuka circuit, the entire Suzuka International circuit. And we're going to take a look at the AM category first, where Jeffrey Cranston from Craney Customs in the AM category took the win. He started on the inside of row number 2, worked his way up to the lead, fairly early in the race and managed to take the win. And again, this was interesting because the majority of our drivers had only done testing during the week on the first half of the course. Mike Taylor's number 66 machine, the Frito Sport Racing entry, he started on the outside of row number 1, started second, and he finished third. Our pole sitter, who I'm hoping that we'll have a chance to talk to this evening, Larry, that was Russ Ruddick from Flying Tortoise Motorsports driving the number 95 machine. He likely will be our pre-race interview, so hopefully we'll see him. Eric Kleister finished 4th, David Payne finished 5th, and we've got the point standings there up on the screen after 2 rounds, and Jeffrey Cranston from Craney Customs, you can see now, has a 10-point lead over Mike Taylor, has a 14-point lead over Russ Ruddick, Greg Brockway, and David Payne, rounding out the top 5. And again, that is after 2 rounds here, and at some point somewhere during the season, somebody will fix this for season number 22, not season number 21. All right, let's move over now to the pro category, John, and taking the win. Here's where things got all messed up, was in the pro category, because Mitchell Peak from Team Esport Racer, the number 56 machine, he took the win at Suzuka in the pro category, with Brennan Horn finishing second and only a 1/10 of a second off the back of the 56 car. Horn driving for D2D E-Racing this year in the number 45 machine. The Seamless Racing entry of John Allen, the 101 car, he finished on the 3rd step of the podium, took the silver, and then Chris Thorman and Tom Morathke rounded out the top 5. But you know, the interesting story here is that Mitchell Peak started 7th, Brennan Horn started 9th, John Allen at least started on the 2nd row. Chris Thorman started 10th, and our pole sitter Robert Hartley, he had a 10-second penalty, which dropped him back much further back in the field. He ended up finishing 6th after the penalty was assigned, as he had contact with David Payton, which I believe put Payton out of the race, and that happened fairly early on. So if we take a look at the point standings there, you can see now after 2 rounds, we have a tie for the lead in the Classic Sprint Series Pro category. Brennan Horn from D2D E-Racing, John Allen from Seamless Racing, they both are sitting here after 2 rounds with 63 points. Robert Hartley, and this is where that penalty could really hurt him, he is sitting 5 points back in 3rd, and he was your championship leader after round number 1. He took the initial win. Chris Thorman, 10 points off the lead in 4th, and then another 11 points back from there. David Payton, both Thorman and Payton running for D2D E-Racing this year. So there are your standings. Let's jump back to the qualifying, Larry, if we would like to do that, and we'll bring up hopefully we'll bring up the order here as we jump now, I believe, over to the number 31 machine. David Payne, currently your fastest driver in the AM category, and this is, I think, as good a time as any to tell our watchers at home how to tell our different categories and drivers apart. As we watch David Payne here in that number 31 machine, the way we know he's in the AM category, he's got the green number boards on the side of his car. He's got the green mirrors on the car as well. Those are our AM category drivers, and our pro category drivers, if we jump over to one of them, maybe we go take a look at Travis Schwenke, who's our John Allen will certainly do. Oh, there's Travis, as Travis up until about 5 seconds ago was our fastest pro category driver on track in the Orion Racing number 16 machine. His teammate just jumped the provisional pole. You can tell the pro drivers, they've got the red number boards and the red mirrors on the car as well. And when we go to racing, you'll be able to see on that timing tower on the left-hand side of the screen the drivers that are in the pro and in the AM categories. We'll break that down for you in red and green.
Also worth noting that the AM drivers will start intermixed with the pro drivers. It's not any kind of a split start. So whoever the fastest AM driver could possibly have a couple of pro drivers in between he and his nearest competitor within class. So it can be an advantage for an AM driver to get a pretty good lap in and keep themselves high on the board as kind of trying to figure out right now who the highest is.
Well, Bobby Childs in the 88 machine just jumped to 4th fastest overall. He is our fastest AM category driver.
Bobby eating his Wheaties this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was telling Jonathan that, you know, if for some reason you weren't able to make it tonight, Larry, we could always hope that Bobby Childs would end up in the booth with us here tonight. But
come on, let's not wish that on anybody. I mean, let's hope that Bobby has a better race than that.
Yeah, exactly. No, I wouldn't wish my presence on him at all. All right, so if we take a look here quickly, as we are about halfway through qualifying, and I know we've got the timing pylon there, kind of intermixed between the classes. I'll run things down for you. In the pro category right now, fastest driver and your provisional pole sitter tonight, Mike Dam, putting on the drift.
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah, lots of drift at round 9.
Yeah, and I think he just realized that probably wasn't the fast way through turn 9, and he's called off the lap, but he is currently your fastest driver. That, I believe, might have been his very first flying lap. So we'll see, or his second flying lap, pardon me. So we'll see what he does next. Travis Schwenke, his Orion Racing teammate in the 16 machine, currently second fastest. John Allen in that Seamless Racing number 101 car. 3rd fastest in pro and overall. Bobby Childs in the 88 machine. There you go. 4th fastest overall, your provisional pole sitter in AM. And then if we drop down, and we got to go all the way down to the 10th position overall, and that is Steve Daniel in the number 96 entry. He's your 2nd fastest AM category driver. And then we've got Edgar Sanchinelli in the Frito Sport Racing number 57 machine. He is your 3rd fastest driver. I believe he's working his way down the pit lane now. Most of these drivers now have completed at least 2 flying laps. It looks as though Tom Rathke as well as Mitchell Peak may be on their 3rd and final flying laps. I think Brockway and Taylor as well.
Something worth noting.
Fourth and final flying laps. Pardon.
Yeah, worth noting here on these MX-5 cars is they have made updates in iRacing to these things lately. And I can tell you from some experiences, they are a little bit more loose than they used to be. So the driver's probably not able to use 100% of their setups they had before. Maybe they're just going to go with it. But this car over the years, as sessions go and they do minor updates to them, this is the one the team seems to just sort of switch a little bit here, a little bit there. So watching Mike Dam in that big drift there through 9 just kind of reminded me how the new setup on this is a lot more loose than it was there for a while. You go back about a year and a half, 2 years ago, it was very loose. They were able to dial that back with the setup that came and the way the tires behave. But now we're back to, again, slightly oversteery. So could make for some interesting racing around some of the undulations that Watkins Glen presents.
Yeah, as we watch John, and you can see right there is John Allen getting a lot of rotation coming out of the inner loop, coming out of the bus stop, going into the outer loop, that big carousel corner there before he heads down into the boot, and the rear end just really likes to walk out, having the feet in a little bit of counter steer there. And, you know, Larry, when we were watching Mike Dam come through turn 9, as I think Kevin Ford mentioned during the track guide, that corner is probably the most difficult here on the course. It is one of the only ones that isn't heavily cambered. It's slightly off camber, as a matter of fact, and we'll see here as John comes through there, and, you know, again, you come up to it and you're literally inches off the Armco on exit.
Yeah, it's one of those corners. I think what makes it difficult here is you put that at another track and it maybe blends in a little better. The problem with Watkins Glen is everything else is a corner you can attack. Take a look at 11 here. Dive down to the apex, lots of extra camber down to the apex, and that happens everywhere. Whether it's 11, you go down to 1, you have the same thing. The bus stop isn't too bad, you know, it's got a bit of an undulation to it. Everywhere else, though, you go down through 6 and 7, everything you can attack until you get to 9, and you just have to tiptoe compared to what you've been doing the rest of the lap. So you have to kind of change your style a little bit, really kind of wait for the car. It's one of the tighter corners on the course, and just be patient around it. Or introduce a drift, end up catching the grass strip on driver's right on the way out and slap into the wall on the inside if you're not careful.
All right, so we're on board right now with Robert Hartley, currently 4th fastest. And as we mentioned, he took the win during round 1. And he is currently on his 4th and final flying lap. So let's see if he can make up some ground here. It wants to get at least a 2:08.39 to leapfrog his teammate Travis Schwenke. And as Hartley crosses the line, he is going to turn in a 2:08.65. So a little bit off his previous best time, but you can see it there, Larry. He is, well, I guess you can't see it because we don't have Schwenke's time up there. He and Hartley are essentially tied. I think there was 1/100th of a second separating those two drivers on track here in qualifying today.
Yeah, I think what you're going to find here in the way these MX-5 cars tend to roll around here, you're going to get a lot of side-by-side, a bit of a draft on the opening lap. So they'll go down through this turn one. They'll stay side-by-side. A draft will get picked up. They have to get it sorted by the time they get to bus stop. Otherwise, it's going to get real messy real fast. But once they go single file, you can, if you get a good run around one, you can get a draft and make a pass before you get to that bus stop. But if there's a three-way train going on, the guy in the middle now has a draft. The guy in the back's got a draft. They maybe can make a push. You end up with lots of crazy side-by-sides, but often the one who can hold the best line into the bus stop ends up holding that position. So it's actually not as easy to pass around here as maybe some other tracks because the straightaways aren't super long. But we'll see how it works out in these cars. But don't expect a lot, but it's going to be a lot of challenging attempts by drivers who maybe do get the better run off of one, able to make it stick. And maybe even if the lead driver opens up that inside a little bit and gives them the inside into the bus stop.
Hey, and Larry, we now have just a bit under a minute and a half remaining here in qualifying. I wanted to recognize some of our longtime watchers in the chat tonight. So, hey, Stubby, good to see you there this evening. And, of course, we've got Rich Dibdahl, Dean Dibdahl's father. And I think we also have, don't want to miss him, Brendan Kennedy, who's usually here with us on Monday nights as well. So thanks so much for joining in here with us tonight. They're talking about, Larry, who's going to be shaken and bacon tonight, and so we'll see how that's going to play out. But here with
you've got Orion drivers, 3 out of the top 4 right now.
It.
So you've got Dam and Schwenke there on the inside of those 2 rows. Maybe they'll be the shake and bake.
That's as long as nobody's on fire. We've seen too much of that this week. All right. All right, Mike Dam, our provisional pole sitter right now in the number 93 machine already. He's on his last final lap. If he doesn't hit the wall, let's see if he can improve upon a 2:07.84 as he comes to the line. And Mike Dam, what does he turn in? He turns in a 2:07.84. So indeed, not only does he improve, Larry, but he is almost at 4/10 of a second faster than the next closest driver on track. That's the Seamless Racing number 101 entry of John Allen.
Yeah, and John's going to be in that Orion sandwich, surrounded by them. But we know how John plays this. He's able to find dancing partners regardless of who they are.
Yeah, so he's not going to be the bread in that sandwich. He's not the one getting baked. He's
not the Wonder Bread.
Yeah, he's not the Wonder Bread. All right, so we've got our starting grid popping on course. I'll tell you what, I'll take the first half, Larry, if you want to take the second. Mike Dam from Orion Racing with a pole time. I've been saying provisional so much the last week, I don't even remember what to say anymore. Of a 2:07.8. He is your pole sitter. John Allen from Seamless Racing, he's going to start right next to him on the outside of row number 1. Travis Schwenke is going to start on the inside of row number 2 with his Orion Racing teammate Robert Hartley starting next to him in 4th. Bobby Childs will be your AM category pole sitter. He's starting 5th overall tonight with Tom Rathke starting in 6th. Chris Thorman from D2D Racing will start 7th tonight. His teammate Brennan Horan will start in 8th. David Patton, another D2D Racing teammate, he will start 9th in the number 64 car, while Mitchell Peak in the Team Esport Racer Machine will start 10th. Steve Daniel from SKKJ Racing, he's going to start 2nd in the AM category, a whole 3 rows back from the pole sitter Bobby Childs. And Jeff Jacobs from StreetSurvival.org driving the 38 machine, he's going to start 12th.
All right, on row 7 on the inside is going to be Edgar Sanchinelli from Frito Sport Racing, lined up with David Payne from the DP Racing entry. Both those in the AM category. On row 8, Greg Brockway, another Frito Sport driver, right there with his teammate in front of him. Greg Brockway on the inside of row 8. On the outside, another Frito Sport, Mike Taylor. Still lots of Frito Sports all bunching up together there. on rows 7 and 8. On row 9 on the inside is going to be Russ Ruddock from the Flying Tortoise Motorsports, lined up with John Casey in the 046 Racing entry. Row 10 is going to be Eric Kleister in the Scuderia Tartaruga, going to be lined up with Paul Carey and Carey Racing. And then last but not least, on row 11, Robert Brist on that inside RFC Racing.
All right, so the pace car now is underway. Mike Dam, John Allen leading the field off the front row as they start their pace lap here, and we're going to get underway in just a few moments for a 60-minute run to the checkered flag here at Watkins Glen International. Unfortunately, we did not get Russ Ruddock into the booth. I think he was a little tied up there with qualifying, Larry. So we'll hopefully, there's always a chance that we may get to speak to Russ Ruddock at the end of this race.
Maybe
tonight,
he's just avoiding the pre-interview curse, as last time the pre-interview never even saw the green flag. In other weeks, they haven't often seen the checkered flag.
Yes.
So maybe he's playing the odds.
Yeah, so apparently the announcer's curse is a real thing. In more ways than one.
Hey,
so,
all I know is in my case last week, if I picked you as a winner, there's a good chance you win the race. I don't want to say I pick any winners tonight, but it's, hand me a couple of bucks. I'll make sure I pick you and throw you my good luck.
All right, and apparently Jeff Cranston, who was originally going to be our interviewee tonight pre-race, can't make the event tonight, but he is watching at home.
Awesome.
On YouTube. So Jeff, welcome, and hope you like what you see. I mean, other than the fact
sorry that work gets in the way sometimes of the good time of racing, but I'm sure the next time around we will see Jeff on the grid.
All right. So as the field now starts to make their way down into the carousel area, I guess this is as good a time as any, so we don't get caught up at the end, that we do have a real live starter here in the Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series. And so rather than going on the artificial, and you may see the lights there up at the top of the screen, the artificial start from iRacing itself, we do have a starter. He's up in that virtual starter stand. I don't know how he got up there, but he is there. He will offer the green flag. There is, though, a start zone where the racers can start to pick up pace, but they cannot pass the car ahead of them until they get to the start-finish line. So that sometimes here at Watkins Glen can impact the rundown in the turn one, because as Kevin said during the track guide, it is not the longest front straightaway here, kind of a medium length straight, as our pole sitter, the number 93, Mike Dam, along with John Allen, lead the field out of that very tight, slow turn number 9 into the 2 final corners, into turns 10 and 11, and then we will go racing here for 60 minutes from 3.4 mile, 11 turn Watkins Glen International. So the pace car now bringing them around the final corner onto the front straight, and the pace car now dips into the pit lane. Mike Dam has the field, and as they come down the front straight waiting for the green, looks like Hartley's got a little bit of an advantage there. Green flag is in the air, and they are on their way, and a great start by John Allen.
Yeah, great start. Timed it very, very well, but look at that, getting a little bit of a bump. Schwenke pushing Dam down the inside. Teammates working well.
Here we go, and as they come now down into turn 1, Mike Dam manages from the inside to get back ahead of the 101 machine, and look at that, all the way down to the inside, having to protect against Bobby Childs was Robert Hartley and Travis Schwenke, as they come now down or up through the S's for the very first time. They're going to make that run down the back straight, head over towards the inner loop, the bus stop, where things will likely start to fan out. And there's one car jumping all the way to the inside, and it shouldn't surprise anybody. It's Tom Rathke in that white number 41 machine. Can't make up any ground though as they come through the inner loop.
Yeah, Tom looked like he was going to pop out, not able to really go anywhere with it. I'm keeping my eye on Mitchell Peak back there. He was able to win the last round at Suzuka. When he gets seat time, he is fast, so we'll see if he's able to pick up the pace as this hour-long race progresses. He'll be in that black car currently back there, just behind Brennan Horan. but he'll be working his way through this pack. You did notice there, once they got single file and sorted out, not a lot of opportunities to pass as everyone catching a draft from each other. And with Mike Dam getting that push from Schwenke as he entered turn 1, may have helped launch him ahead to keep him there all the way to the bus stop. So we'll see if any of these opportunities arise, such as Rafke there even peeking down the inside of Bobby Childs, not for class, that is just for track position. Bobby running an AM and Rafke running in the open class.
Yeah, and so Rafke on the start also made an early move down to the inside, might have compromised his speed a little bit out of the 90 out of turn 1 and then up through the S's, but he really has designs on getting around Bobby Childs, the 88 car. Now again, Childs, our AM category pole sitter, and at this point he has I think 6 cars behind him before you get back to that yellow number, the yellow 57. Oh, and going around that is Paul Carey. Oh, I'm sorry, you're right, David Payne in the 31 machine, and he's not going to make it. Not going to make it through the boot there.
Yep. Rafke again being the aggressor here, trying to get position. The problem here at Watkins Glen is if you dive down into 1, you don't get any kind of a run, and he's going to give a run to Bobby, who's got Brennan Horn, his teammate, on the inside of the row there, helping to push Bobby along, getting a bit of a push draft. The issue now is that Rafke's going to have the inside. If he gets a push from Peak, the 2 of those on the inside might have the advantage here going into the bus stop. Oh, 2x2s. This could be fun.
Yeah, and it's 2x2, but you can see even from the inside lane, they didn't really get a good push until the very end there, as Rafke does get the quick shove from Mitchell Peak ahead of Bobby Childs, and Childs almost dropping a wheel off on exit. And you can see where he got caught all the way to the outside and loses those 2 positions, and now it looks like his teammate, the 60 machine of Chris Thorman, almost ready to push by.
Yeah, I think Bobby was just trying to avoid any kind of contact there, knowing that his battle's not with the red mirror pro class cars. He was able to get a scoot out of the way for a moment, maybe thought he could stay in line with Mitchell Peak, decided to back out. Steve Daniel, though, here, he would love to be moving his way up in this AM field. He's currently 3rd, right behind Edgar Sancinelli, but he would love to get by. They got Jeff Jacobs there, Peyton Thorman before you get to Bobby. So Bobby still has a 3-car buffer, but that little bit of buffer he had to his nearest rivals, it's definitely dwindling.
Yeah, and so as we watch them come now out of turn 8 and start to make that run up the hill towards turn 9, this is where they'll typically funnel down nose to tail. But Larry, I think we were talking about this a little bit earlier. You know, this is a very fast course. The Miatas are probably the MX-5s. Obviously, they draft very well, and you can carry speed through here. But you don't have a lot of those traditional corners where you get heavy on the brakes and you try and outbrake somebody into the corner. I mean, typically the major area here where you're going to make up a position if somebody doesn't make a mistake is going too wide or trying to push down the inside going into the bus stop.
Yeah, the heaviest break-in zone around here is a little bit at 1. The other one would be down, I guess, at 7. 7, down there in the toe of the boot. But even that corner, because it's a reasonable radius and then it climbs this hill, it's a giant climbing 180. The best you could do is get side by side with someone. If you're on the outside, you're probably not getting the best run anyway. So that's what makes this place so difficult to pass. There isn't that standing on its nose, pivot around sort of break-in zone like some other tracks, like VIR, for example.
Right.
Just random
track that you've pulled out of the air. Here, here we go, as we are now working lap number 3, and we anticipate, based on the lap times here, that the drivers are running, which are right now in the high or actually mid 208s, that this race will probably go 27, 28 laps here this evening, and we'll talk a little bit more about pit strategy. Because these cars are not going to make it all the way to the end on 1 tank of fuel. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah, so interesting. We've already got a breakaway at the front, about 3 seconds or so separating Schwenke in 4th, Rafke in 5th. Rafke, Peak, and Brennan Horn, they're trying to work together to make a little threesome to try and push up to the front 4 pack. Bobby Childs did a pretty good job there leading Thorman, Peyton, his teammates, to stick with this pack of Peak, Rafke, and Horan. So And we'll see if this middle three breaks away or if the next group's able to stick with him for a while. But the longer that second group, I should say the third group, sticks with the second group, the harder it's going to be for the second group to catch. The front four are fast.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're very fast, and you can see the effect of that maneuver is Peak went and pushed Rathke up into fifth position early on to get around Horn and Childs, and they're kind of paying the price for it. Although I don't know if Horn and Childs would have been able to keep up with those top four anyhow.
Probably not. They've got reasonable pace, but this front four has shown week after week in this series to be really the pace setters. Every once in a while, someone else will get into that pace, and they could run it at certain tracks. But week after week, it is. If I had to pick four names that are going to be the fastest, it's going to be these four. Oh, and that's Steve Daniel going around in one.
Yeah, as he goes around over at the 90, he was running third in the AM category and running 13th overall. That is now going to drop him back all the way into 20th position. And I think the only driver that may be further back right now is David Payne, who had that lap one off. Let's take a look at the replay.
Oh, good. We're going to be on board here as he's behind Jeff Jacobs. He does the turn in and just catches a bit of grass, it looks like, on the inside. He gets a little tap from behind. His little extra boost probably wasn't looking for.
No.
But after the fact.
Hey, as he was trying to find a way around the Frito Sport number 57 machine and just could not get it done.
So you had alluded to a little bit of about how long we think the race is going to go and that pit strategy is going to come into play. What's going to end up happening here is they do have to make a pit stop. Can't make it through the race without one. And if you're in one of these trains, it presents opportunities to maybe coast a little bit into the braking zone and to maybe save a little bit of fuel. Certainly looking at the front four, Allen and Hartley and Schwenke trailing Mike Dam right now. Those three have an opportunity to maybe take advantage of that. Same thing in this second pack, should these guys want perhaps Peak or even Brennan Horan could possibly do a little bit of a coast break and save some fuel to shorten that pit stop when it finally comes time.
Yeah, and that may be an option as we take a look now, just looking back through that shot there, where, and by the way, Edgar Sancinelli has now fallen back as well. Greg Brockway is your new second place runner in the number 62 machine in the AM category. That this is actually a very good place for Bobby Child to be. For example, he's right in the middle of that second pack and may be able to coast, maybe able to save some fuel, whereas it looks like the rest of the AM category drivers, or at least the second, third, and fourth, are already a bit spread out. And may be a very difficult strategy call.
You had the spin by Steve Daniel, of course, that actually put it some gap because Daniel was right on the heels of Jeff Jacobs, and then you had Brockway Taylor behind him. Well, I think when the spin happened for Daniel, it left Brockway Taylor no choice but to back out of it, and they've lost now sight of any sort of draft they might have had behind Jeff Jacobs. So they're going to have to work together to try and close that up. As it looks like one of our incidents is under review. That's the 95er Ruddock and the 141 of Carey now being looked at. Brennan Horan working well behind Mitchell Peak. Happy to let Mitchell play the sandwich here. And with Rathke leading this threesome, they are definitely still losing ground, a couple of tenths a lap to the front four.
Yeah, but there's a good chance there. Rathke's not doing any kind of lifting and coasting through the corners.
Look at the catch. Look at the catch.
Car. Oof. Look at that as the rear end really steps out as they go through the carousel through turn 6.
I'm telling you, this new, I don't know if it's a tire model change or what it was, but something happened to these cars that made them just a little bit more tail happy on corner entry. In fact, this is the track I had driven about a week and a half ago with these cars and found just crazy loose turning down as you enter the boot. It just wanted to step around on that downhill corner. The other spots not as bad, even here around 8, not as bad, but because now that you can open things up with the new scan of Watkins Glen and run this wide, you can get away with a little bit more. But there's a couple spots that'll bite you with the new loose car.
Yeah, and we could see on this lap alone, of course, Rathke having some issues with the rear end of the car stepping out on him through turn 6 up at the top of the carousel going into the chute. But if you saw also a turn 7, and 7 has that real dig. It's a fairly steep uphill, but there is a definite groove in the down towards the apex. And if you don't get in there, the rear end will wash out, you'll lose speed, and we just saw the entire car completely wash out, and it's been happening quite a bit more often. I'm wondering if Rathke is maybe pushing that pace a little bit to try and either A, get up to the pack up in front, or B, just to keep the couple cars, the couple D2D guys right back behind them from attacking.
Yeah, so Allen and these guys now maybe even having trouble holding that gap behind Mike Dam. The draft will help him here, but look at this. With Allen having a little bit of struggles, Hartley is going to take a peek down the inside.
Yep, and Schwenke doesn't follow his teammate, gets back behind the 101 car, and so now move Robert Hartley up into second position. John Allen now drops back to third. Travis Schwenke holds station in fourth. Yeah, and you can see Hartley there with the rear end walking out just a little bit, and that's a corner also fairly heavily cambered. If you get out of the groove, yes, you can see the rear end wash out a little bit. More typical to have the front end wash out, and that's why it's so interesting to see here how these cars are so biased to the rear right now with these latest updates. And and maybe it is a question, Larry, that with a change to the MX-5s, for the first time maybe in about a year, the drivers are, they've had to make some basic adjustments to get them through the race and maybe be, somewhat quick. But I suspect that these cars, if they had another couple of weeks to dial them in, might handle a little bit different. But, as they say, loose is fast, and and these cars certainly are sliding around a lot more than they used to.
Yeah, it can be fast, but it also requires a lot more control, both hands and feet, to keep these things from sliding too much. Because in a car like this is one of the most pure momentum cars there is. You get a little bit of slide, and all you do is you lose that momentum. You can't get the power down, and you watch, especially at a track like Watkins Glen, which is very much got momentum corners all over the place. You're going to lose track and lose pace to the car in front of you very, very quickly now, especially with Mike Dam and Rob Hartley, teammates up there. If John Allen has any sort of trouble, the teammates will continue to push and not fight. They'll even bump draft if they have to try and pull away from Allen, even if it means leaving the third member of the Orion team, Travis Schwenke, left hung out to dry. Oh, but as I say, they thought they're going to work together. Apparently not. Good
call, Larry, as they make their way down. But at least here you can see as Hartley takes the point and is your new leader. Oh, and it looks like Rathke getting the push once again from Mitchell Peak coming into the bus stop. But, you saw there where Hartley and Dam didn't necessarily give up the battle, but changed the positions very quickly. They didn't go into the bus stop side by side. They didn't give any opportunity to Tom Rathke, Mitchell Peak, Brennan Horn, etc., to close down any additional ground to that lead pack, which is now at about 5 seconds up on this now growing second pack.
So the second pack isn't nearly as well coordinated as they continue to sort of jostle around. There's Horn pushing Peak to try and keep up. As another one of our incidents is under review. That's this time Kerry involved with the 96 of Steve Daniel.
Steve Daniel, yeah. So maybe there was contact, Larry. I mean, we didn't see it from we saw the in-car view of Steve Daniel going into one. Maybe he got a little tap going around.
From the in-car, it looked like he just turned in, caught grass, and then as he spun, got popped from behind, which wouldn't be a penalty, I wouldn't think. But perhaps there was something else. But then again, Steve Daniel continued after that.
That's true.
And now he's in the pits, so I suspect.
So here's the question. Director John, any way we could maybe go back and see that last incident that Steve Daniel with the 96 car was involved in? Hey, look at that. It's like magic. Poof.
So this is that particular replay where he comes down the inside, gets the grass, and there's a slight tap. But again, I think the spin was already gone.
Yeah.
But there's another incident somewhere, I suspect, unless he decided to just bail, because he's in the pits now. Oh, and there's this. This looks like
Oh,
a
this
little
might be
coming
it.
together. That might be the one that's under review.
Yes, I think that one would be a little bit closer. All right, well, we'll let the thank you very much, John.
Thank
We
you, John.
appreciate it. We'll let the stewards figure that one out, and as soon as we get some information and whether any action is taken, we will let you know. But right now, both it looks like Steve Daniel is in the pit lane getting repairs to his car. As we jump back on board right now with the two Frito Sport racers, we've got Mike Taylor, we've got Edgar Sancinelli in the 57. Right behind him, I guess the new Frito Sport livery, maybe the slightly older Frito Sport livery here as they dig down the hill into the toe of the boot, start to make that run up the hill.
Nice little updates to the Frito Sport. Nice little elegant black with some nice little light trim on it. Looks good. Sure, they appreciate getting the camera time for the Frito Sport team, but I'm sure they would rather be mixed in with some other teams at the same time.
You realize, Larry, this is where that announcer's curse kicks in. Right? Sorry. All right, let's jump back now over towards the second pack and the amalgam of all the D2D e-racers here. We've got the 45 of Brennan Horan, second car in the line there. Actually, I guess third car in the line, but third in the line. First of our D2D e-racing machines, then Bobby Charlton, Chris Thorman, then David Payton. As it looks like we're seeing from the D2D folks here what we're not seeing from the Orion teammates here. Maybe a little jostling coming out of the 90 and starting to head up the hill here. Gives a little bit of an advantage perhaps to Jeff Jacobs in that yellow and black number 38 machine, the streetsurvival.org machine right
if
behind
he can
him.
find a place to go, because right now it is just a flock of D2D in front of him.
And look at this.
The near contact, I think they avoided it though. Good job there by Peak, just staying a little bit to that left side, and for Rafke also able to avoid it. That's good racing there going into the bus stop.
Yeah, as he holds off, does not get into the 41 machine. Brendan Horn, though, I think might have had to check up just a little bit mid-entry into the bus stop, and he may be getting a little. He definitely appears to be getting a little racy, and I think what's happening here is Peak with that pressure from behind. I think realizes that sitting back behind Rafke probably is not the place for him to be.
Horn giving the push to Mitchell, does not want to lose sight of Rafke. It's a good little race here between these guys, and just watching Brennan and Mitchell really kind of working together. They're not fighting for spots.
No, it's a little bit further back there where that battling is going on. But you also notice now that Chris Thorman in the number 60 machine has worked his way clear of his other D2D e-racing teammates from Bobby Childs and David Payton. And so what was a 7-car train is now a group of 4 and a group of 3 with a obvious split between the two. And as they drop down, go under braking down into turn 1, into the 90, Rafke, more or less almost every single lap, seems to have a bit of an advantage. Gets a good drive out of the final corner and down to 1. But again, there's not much you can do here when you have the cars caught in the draft going up that hill, and there is such an obvious pull. Larry,
just reading the back of Rafke's car. Thank you for not punting.
Yes.
Mitchell, a good run.
We still
getting
got
the
40
push.
minutes to see if that's valid instruction.
See what it looks like after it's been wrinkled a few times.
Yes.
Yeah, good work there. Brennan, again, kind of doing this impromptu teamwork here with Mitchell Peak, kind of help pushing past the 41 of Rafke. And now Peak and Brennan, to see if they've got any kind of pace now that they're out in front. This is the part of the track where having good marks and having good pace really pays off, because there isn't much drafting you can do through the boot. If these guys were at all being held up, this is where it'll show.
So Rathke should be able to pull back up as they come down the hill into the not heavy braking, but medium braking area here at the heel of the boot.
And there is some drafting you can do there between 7 and 8. But again, then you get to these critical corners, corners like 9, and then when you get to 11 onto the front straight, we'll see if they are able to pull any sort of a gap.
Yeah, because I mean Rathke's been getting a great run out of that final corner, you know. But the
and
other part of
corner.
this, you know, but the other part of this is that Rathke has had. And Rathke now, is he coming down the pit lane or is he just trying to defend? He is, and Larry, this is, I think,
that's early.
A very early. So maybe this is as good a time as any to start talking pit strategy here, because this is a little surprising to us. We saw, again, we expect this race to go 27 or 28 laps. We think these cars can carry enough fuel to run about 15 laps. So, you know, just
he's
over
right at
halfway.
that edge. I would have thought he needed one more lap, but perhaps his thought is he can make it work. He's probably getting decent fuel economy because he's been running in that train for a while, but let's see what this works out. This is definitely a lap or two early than we expected, and you know, maybe we'll see the rest of the flood rolling in one more lap.
And Larry, and it looks like he's taken 4 tires. I saw the left go up, and as we broke away from the camera shot, I started to see the right come up as well. So I mean, that may be, never mind the early stop, but I mean, that could turn out to be a very good call. It could turn out to be a very poor call, depending on what these other drivers do.
We've seen in recent rounds where drivers do this. They are fast at the end of the race, but I'm not sure we've seen anyone make it work a full 4-tire change. 2 tires you get for free because you can do it while the fuel goes in. The second 2 tires take quite a bit longer. We'll see what this does for Rathke. If the second set, all 4 tires, is any sort of an advantage for him. You can see right now that he has no drafting buddy. He's going to be all by himself until they catch that car up in front of him.
Yeah, and you know, before he pitted in, I wanted to make the point that coming up and out of the S's, he had been, up until that last sequence, had been getting a lot of help and had always been getting a push from Mitchell Peak. And as Peak and Horn had worked their way past Rathke, I think he had lost his natural drafting partner there, and he might have found with nothing but D2D iRacing folks right back in his midst. It might have been very hard to find a partner to get back up into that battle there. So now it's either the next best thing or the next worst thing. He's all by himself out on track with nobody to draft at all.
So as we expect pit stops in the next 1 or 2 laps. Just wonder, maybe it's about that time.
Yeah, why don't we do this, Larry? Because I think probably within the next lap or 2, we are going to start seeing the majority of our drivers come in by necessity more than anything else. So let's go take a quick break, thank some of our great sponsors, and when we come back, we'll take you all the way to the checkered flag here for season number 22 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series, presented by Performa Texas Elite Graphics here at Watkins Glen International. We'll be right back.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name-brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com. Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.
The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
And we're back here at Watkins Glen International for round number 3 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series presented by Performa Texas Elite Graphics. I'm Greg Ginsburg along with Larry Lefty McLeod. And Larry, we were just discussing, and everybody, I guess, we were just discussing that, you know, we know that John Allen, by his nature, likes to run the car until it's pretty much bone dry, and he was maybe sitting back behind Hartley and Dam and trying to make the most of the draft and fuel savings. And just as we said that, he got a great run out of the uphill S's and drafted right by the 2 Orion teammates going down into the bus stop.
And Hartley and Dam almost looked like they just let him go, as if they suddenly said, you know what, we need to do some fuel save. Let's make John our lead goose in this pack, and we'll sit in his draft and see if we can catch some fuel saves. I wonder now if it's a time for John Allen to take the odd break and come in if he thinks he's saved enough fuel to not give these guys any more opportunity behind him. But let's watch and see if anything happens. We expect this window to kind of start now and run for the next 2 or 3 laps. So it's not the biggest window, but saving fuel does make for shorter pit stops.
Well, it's not going to be this lap this time by, as
Few other
they are
times
now out on lap 13. And again, we think, and now coming down, Mitchell Peak is going to come down the pit lane and go and get that fill of fuel. We thought that the pit window was only going to be somewhere between lap 13 and lap 15. So very small window, not a lot of options unless you can save a lot of fuel sitting in somebody's draft and maybe lifting a little bit going in the corners.
It's time for the Frito stop.
Yeah, here we go. It's Greg Brockway, it's Mike Taylor, it's Edgar Sanchinelli, all of the Frito Sport guys coming down the pit lane now for their mandatory pit stop. And we'll see here as Bobby Childs is still our AM category driver, our AM category leader. Now Eric Kleister has moved up at the 2nd. John Casey now sitting 3rd in AM as we jump back now.
So while the Frito Sport guys are all playing in a line, so are the D2D boys, as they are just going to stick themselves in this train here. At the front of it is Brennan Horan. And then you got Thorman and Childs and Peyton all sort of playing nice together for the time being.
Yeah, and so Tom Morathke had been part of this little pack, but he was our first driver to pit in, and now that leaves our 4 D2D E-Racing folks there. So it looks like Taylor Sanchinelli and Brockway have now completed their pit stops.
Greg comes out right behind the 141 of Paul Carey. Nice profile picture of Brockway there in his driver's suit and helmet.
That's right.
Everyone's still chasing Bobby Childs, who's getting a lot of help from those teammates up there. And meanwhile, this Orion team seems to still be okay with John Allen leading their pack. None of them making a break yet.
One more.
Yep, one more at least. Could be a little longer. You got to figure we're only now at the 30-minute mark. If they want to make it to the end, they probably could even get another 1, maybe 2 laps out of this. So we'll keep our eyes.
Yeah, we think they could probably get somewhere around 33 minutes or so on a full tank here as that pack of 4 D2D drivers all come in a row.
D2D looking like the Fab Four and going across Abbey Road there, and Bobby Childs, the McCartney in the sequence.
Yeah, who's Ringo? Better yet, who's Pete Best?
Ringo is Peyton. He's at the end. Oh, no, sorry, Ringo was I believe he was 2nd in line. But then again, we're not going to sit here and play Abbey Road trivia.
No.
Brennan Horn taking on left side tires, as is Bobby Childs. The others look like they are going to stay on their 4.
And you can see there, going up in the air. It is...
taking 4 tires.
Yeah, I was just going to say, taking 4 is Brennan Horn.
And interesting, Horn, I wonder if he started to, but unchecked that box while he was in the air and never actually took the tires because he dropped down pretty quick. You see Bobby seemed to stick it out up until the end. He may have taken all of his. But interesting there for Brennan. I don't know that he did. That was pretty quick to be up and down. Didn't know if that was possible. We'll have to see if we're able to interview him later what that actually was.
And so that now brings Bobby Childs back on track in 13th position. He's got Jeff Jacobs behind him, and interestingly enough, Greg Brockway, who has been through his pit cycle as well, right behind. And look who they come up to here, Larry.
Yeah, right,
it's
back
Tom
where they started
Rathke.
from.
Yeah. Suddenly that four tire choice from Tom Rathke not looking so horrible.
Yeah, not at all. Seemed to be pretty quick. And so now with him and Mitchell Peak, right now, all they've done is they've broken up the D2D boys a little bit. Now leading, of course, the M category is Eric Kleister.
And here we go.
Not stopped.
Here come the
and
Orion
John Allen
boys.
stayed out, most notably.
Yes. So Robert Hartley, Mike Dam, Travis Schwenke, all coming down the pit lane now. Yep. Hartley pitting in from second, Dam from third, Schwenke from fourth, but John Allen.
More of a ZZ Top than Beatles now as they come in the threesome.
Yeah, I don't think any of them have the beards, though. All right, and here they go, all onto the pit lane now.
Any tires? Oh, like damn. Sorry,
yeah,
it was
like
Hartley first.
They're all taking
three.
at least left.
Yeah. Let's see if Hartley's other side goes up or not. There he goes. Hartley taking 4. All of them taking 4.
This is like You know any synchronized swimming teams? All right, first driver out is going to be Robert Hartley in the number 3 Orion Racing Mazda MX-5. Let's track where John Allen is. Actually, I guess it doesn't really matter where John Allen is.
We'll see when he comes in, probably next lap where he comes back out. But these guys did separate themselves a little bit. We'll see if they end up bunching back up. There's probably about 3/4 of a second between them. But this is now right back where it was before. Rathke now in front of Mitchell Peak. Rathke, again, continuing to get those great runs off of turn 1.
Yeah, he does, and he drafts right by Peak. He drafts by, probably also drafts by David Payton. We'll see what happens as they come down towards the bus stop. They're also coming up. Now take a look on the other portions of that D2D pack as well.
Oh, Peak going to the inside right as the slower car wants to let them by. That was hairy. Didn't see who that was, but he was doing everything he could to stay out of the battle. Just made it kind of a one-lane bus stop. Peak able to take advantage of it, kind of use him as a pick to get on by Rathke.
All right, so here's John Allen coming into the final corners. Is he going to pit in now? He's
nope.
No, another one for John Allen. Thinks he can make it. He is now working lap number 16. Pardon me, lap number 17. So quite a bit further than we ever expected him to be able to go here, as we are now just about 35 minutes into the 60-minute race. As we now take a look, this is the battle for 5th and 6th in pro, 7th and 8th overall. It's Brendan Horn and Chris Thorman, 2 D2D teammates, and they have now managed to separate themselves out quite a bit from Mitchell Peak and Tom Rathke. They're about 8 car lengths back.
Just enough to maybe think they can break a draft. They're going to have to really work well together to do that, because Peak is very fast around here. You can see him just continue to pick up pace as this race progresses.
Right,
and that's the 64 of Peyton.
Ooh. Yep, that's it. That's David Payton, and he is now in the pits.
Wow. So much for having that dance partner there. Peyton now out of this race.
That's it. That was horrible. Casey and Kleister now come down the pit lane for their pit stops. Currently sitting 3rd and 4th in AM. That's going to move Bobby Childs back up into the lead in the AM category. Robert Brist now running 2nd. Greg Brockway 3rd.
Now Brennan getting a run. Let's see if they do the leapfrog to see if that's faster than pushing. And looks like the 60th Thorman does give him a little bit of a lift to get him by, to give him that run into the bus stop. Oh, bit of a late break, though, for the 60th Thorman. Did not look smooth there. And there's the gap showing up now to Horn in front of him.
Yeah, caught a lot of curbing on the entrance there. Had to check up just a little bit to get back to driver's left for the next two left-handers in the bus stop. Let's see if John Allen now will pit in. It looks like he's still carrying a lot more speed than somebody who's going to duck in behind the pit wall.
Well, it's an interesting corner on the course, the one where you pull into the pits. But let's watch Peyton now. And that number 64 with the green stripes with his D2D car just loses it all by himself mid-corner. Wow, violent hit. Yeah, just ultimately just lost it. Never got his hands open after the car started to rotate, and it just hooked to the left. Just looking at John Allen's pace, 2:09.3 last time by Brennan Horan, 2:08.6, 7/10 faster. Just seeing who else is out there. Still waiting for Hartley Dam Swanky to turn a lap. But Brennan Horan was one of those that believe we took all four tires. John Allen cutting hard. Wow.
Got a lot of grass there. Good thing he didn't get a slowdown, or we don't think he got a slowdown there.
Did he? We'll see if he's extra slow through 7.
And
my experience is that, if you get one of those penalties, serve it in the slow corners, not the fast corners.
Not the fast corners, exactly. And right now, the delta between John Allen and Robert Hartley is 43, almost 44 seconds. And the pit lane times for the the Orion Racing teammates was anywhere between 56 and 57 seconds, Larry.
Well, the lap time for Dam on the last time by, 2:07.5 compared to John Allen's 2:09.3. Fresh tires are fast. We'll see if that 2-second pickup is enough to actually vault him past John Allen, or if Allen's pit stop could possibly be 2 seconds faster because of that amount of time he spent trailing these guys trying to save some fuel.
Exactly, that perhaps he doesn't have to put as much fuel in the tank, but also, Larry, I mean, he has a buffer if he chooses to stay out on the old tires, but I think with the pace that these guys are running, and John Allen is now in the pit lane.
Well, the fastest pit stop we've seen is only 54 seconds, so it looks like everybody maybe taking tires is fast enough. Let's see if Allen does the same. Maybe the new tire changing pit stops are faster, perhaps? Maybe it doesn't cost you as much time. Let's keep our eye. Most interesting part of the race. He'll stop, take a little fuel. Left side will go up, hopefully, probably. Left side go up. Does it go? Does it go?
Well, Larry, I think John Allen might be looking to pick up some time by just taking fuel, and he has done this before, and he's run the tires off at the ends of some races, so we'll see. I mean, it might be the right call, but it doesn't look like he's taking them.
You got to expect he'll come out without a drafting buddy, and that might be the biggest difference here, is that threesome is fast. And look at that. Even with taking tires, they're drafting each other is paying off huge dividends.
Yeah, I mean, 2 seconds a lap, and over the course of, it was about 3 laps, Larry, so about 6 seconds. And John Allen now comes out behind that pack, and the major difference, yes, he's got a little bit less fuel, but he's got a lot less tire than the 3 Orion Racing teammates do just above him in the order, with 20 more minutes remaining here in this race.
Apparently the undercut works around this place. Great job there for the Orion team, all coming in synchronized, going back out with fresh tires now, and that little bit of difference is all it took to be able to leapfrog past John Allen, who was leading this foursome when the first 3 came in. He's sniffing draft, but he's going to lose it soon if he doesn't hustle. Blew through there, not the pitch and catch we had seen earlier with an onboard. Oh.
Ooh, that's
wide.
the second corner that Schwenke's had a little bit of an issue with. Somewhat losing pace to both and losing touch with Dam and Hartley. Should be able to draft back up to them eventually, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't think he lost sight of them through this part of the track. Perhaps a little lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all still about a half a second between each gap. Very smooth hands for John Allen, even with a little catch. It's a nice controlled catch. Oh, a little lift even mid-corner. And still it slides out. There's the tire wear for you.
Yeah. And helps a little bit with the rotation with that that mid-corner lift, but he's working with deficit spending here, Larry.
Yeah, but the Orion team going to work really well together. This is going to be an uphill battle for John, even though this corner is downhill. It's going to be an uphill battle for him to try and break up this threesome in front. He's going to have to find his way past, maybe hope that Travis makes another mistake at some point so then he can get in front. But those Orion guys are fast. Run they got too.
Yeah, and you can see there as they came up through the S's, John Allen, not able to get the run out of the 90, and he's already a couple car lengths back, and he's not making up ground coming up through the S's where you would typically need to. It may be starting to race might be starting to leave him a bit as we jump back over to that group of D2D racers with Mitchell Peak from as well as Tom Rathke, and you can see Peak, who we've said has had great pace early on. I think he was pushing Rathke up, and now that Rathke has fallen back to towards the middle of this 5-car train, Mitchell Peak leads Brendan Horan through, and that right now is the battle for 5th position in Pro. Seemingly having fallen off the pack there. Well, not fallen off. I was going to say Bobby Childs has fallen to the back of that pack, but he still has a tremendous lead in AM right now over
He
Brent
seems to be
Brockway.
okay falling back. He doesn't seem to be bothered by it. And just sniffing the back of their draft is fine. But watching Brendan Horan really pushing Peak, it looked like Horan was going to try and make the move on the inside off of 7, not able to make it go anywhere. But he may be trying, knowing that your passing opportunities may be starting to become few and far between. Oh, and that's the 95 of Russ Ruddock, who was supposed to be our backup pre-race interview.
Well, there you go.
So one of them doesn't make it at all. Work calls. The other one is in the wall. Anyone else want to talk to us?
I'm not gonna mention names.
Smart. You're learning.
Yeah, it only took me 3 years. We're getting there.
As Peak, a little bit of a late turn, and Brennan much cleaner right there. Peak running wide. How wide? That might even be slowdown territory wide.
I was gonna say he was all 4 wheels over the corner. If it's not slowdown, at least it's a couple incident points there, or at least 1 incident point.
Yeah. I wonder if he was trying to just not lift, and it'd be better to just stay back there, give the inside position to Brennan, and maybe do what he's doing now, which is try and draft past going to bus stop.
Yeah. And as Brendan Horan sticking about mid-track. And Peak is going to hold station there as they roll into the bus stop, as we now have about 15 minutes remaining in this 60-minute round number 3 of the Classic Sprint Series live from Watkins Glen International.
Rathke just sort of stuck in the middle of this 5-car sandwich as Bobby just flinging the thing all over the place.
Yeah, that's getting over on the outside curbing there at the going through the outer loop. You saw what there's a bit of a drop off there, Larry, and in order to get the car back, it rises back up, and I've seen drivers in real life lose the car right over there. It was a pretty good recovery. No. It's one of the places I haven't wrecked at the Glen.
That's why you do sim racing now.
Yes, exactly.
This little battle is going to be fun, though, because this has been this way now for probably the last 35 minutes. Once that initial foursome broke away at the front, this next pack, even through pit stops, they found themselves again and it's been just a shuffle up and down. We had Rathke leading this pack for a while, Peak led this pack for a while, and now it's Brennan Horn out in front of this group. We'll see if Bobby Childs can make his way up there and try to lead this little group.
Yeah,
Sometimes he listens to
seems kind of content to sit towards the back of that little pack, and again, he's got now I think close to a 45-second advantage over Greg Brockway, who's running second in AM. If Bobby's trying to play it safe here, sit back right where I am.
Yeah.
But
Rathke's on board, showing he's got a pretty good draft going right here. You can watch that gap close and close and close to Peak, and to Brennan, he's got the double draft. Is he going to split him, or is he going to take the inside?
Well, he's going to do I think what the 56 car had been doing for him early on, is give a little bit of a push to get into the bus stop.
Yeah.
That's going to move Mitchell Peak back up there to the lead in that pack. It's going to move Tom Rathke second in that pack. That again is the battle for fifth right now, and Brennan Horn loses 2 positions in the exchange, but he gets a great run. Oh my gosh, out of the outer loop here as they start to come through the chute and down into the boot. But it looked as though he also really, in that run he got out of the inner loop going into the outer loop, he really pulled Chris Thorman along there.
Yeah, this pack continues to just tighten up through here, and maybe that's the reason why Bobby's hanging back. He's got 2 teammates in front of him. He wants to make sure they can keep their fight going with the other 2 pro class drivers. Rathke, who's now going to duck to the inside of Peak. So much for being friends down the main straight to try and push each other into the bus stop. Here they are side by side. Brennan Horn going to take an opportunity to make it a 3 wide. Nope, not going to be a 3 wide. Peak says, I'll take the lead, but he will stay 2 for Brennan. Staying out there.
And Brennan gives Rathke just the couple of millimeters that he needs to slot back in coming out of turn 9, but it is definitely starting to get pretty racy here, Larry, with a little bit more than 10 minutes remaining on the clock. And I don't want to throw out the gloves are off, but it looks as though Brennan Horn now is going to start getting maybe a little bit more aggressive and show some of the some of that aggression that both Peak and also Rathke have shown since the very beginning of the race.
The gloves, the strings on the gloves might be loose. We'll put it that way. They're not fully off, but they're getting there. As Schwenke now making the move to get around Dam and Hartley. Again, Allen just sort of clinging to the back of this pack, hoping these guys can start to wear their tires a little bit and bring them back to him. He's going to try and duck to the inside of Hartley now. I don't know if there's going to be any there because the next corner goes the other direction.
Yeah, it goes the other way. I don't know.
Maybe he's just, this is the way you make passes at Watkins Glen. Yeah. You force someone into bad lines on consecutive corners and hope you can take it, because now if Allen can make it stick through 6, which he is, he'll have the inside for 7, and he's in front.
Yeah, and he gets around Robert Hartley, and so he would have position going up the hill through turn 7 through the toe of the boot, and he does get that pass done. But that extended running side by side, it's opened up a bit of a gap now up to our 2 leaders, Travis Schwenke and Mike Dam. And I believe this is the first time that Schwenke has led this evening.
Yeah, I think you're right, as he was able to be the last one to get the draft to be head of the goose pack here. But for Allen, that's a good move. He needs to do now, he has to do this 2 more times without giving up the spot back to Rob Hartley. For Allen, it's all back to that run off of 1. That's the key to a good lap around Watkins Glen, is get the run off of 1. To me, my reminder is brake early. Brake earlier than you think. 1 is not the corner to be late braking into, because it'll kill your momentum all the way down the back straight to that bus stop. So we'll see if he does the early brake, turn in, use the curb, and get a run to try and close the gap to Mike Dam. He's on the brakes. That's a good spot. That's smooth. We'll see if he gets a run.
Yeah, very smooth and a very good turn and very good rotation from that car. Again, maybe you wouldn't know from looking at it that John Allen has probably about 15 fewer laps or more laps on his tires than
he's got the 24 lap tires. But look at the run he got now with the double draft with the 2 Orion guys going side by side, and they're blocking the track, not going to give John a chance. John's going to try and force Schwenke into something here, though. Maybe try to do the same move on him he pulled on Hartley the last time around.
Yeah, and Hartley had a chance there, Larry, to kind of come up the inside and hold off John Allen, make entrance into the bus stop. Very difficult for Allen. He didn't do it. Probably kept everybody safe that way. But now going in, we're going to have Horn and Rathke side by side as Peak sneaks through and opens up a little bit of a gap now. Again, this is the battle for fifth, although the battle for fifth now is stepped away just a little bit. Tom Rathke in sixth. Brennan Horn is sitting in seventh.
Just wondering which car is Speed Racer, because Racer X just got himself a blue flag notification according to Race Control.
Ah.
The mysterious Racer X. There you go. There it is again. But yeah, look at this. See if now Brennan decides to make a move on Rathke's. He's got a bit of a run, or is he just going to push and try to make sure they keep up with Peak? That's a push right there.
I was just going to say that's a push. He would have popped to the inside, and they made up about 2 car lengths doing that, Larry.
Yeah, because if he had tried to pass, they would have completely lost sight of Mitchell Peak with only 7.5 minutes to go in the race. Not the time to lose ground when you're trying to grab a top 5 finish here. Look how wide Horn goes, though. Round 10. That's a lot of distance you cover when you do that. You have to come all the way back to set up for 11.
Well, you know, and you look at we saw that in-car shot of John Allen a little while ago, how still on what are very old tires, he still managed to be incredibly smooth with the hands. The one thing seemingly, and now moving down to the inside, Robert Hartley with a run. Can he push the car underneath John Allen? He gets on, taps on the brakes as Allen was able to draft it right back up to Travis Schwenke, and that hole that Hartley wanted to use disappeared awfully quickly. Now let's see this.
Yep, look at this. He's going to try to do the same thing to Hartley, or that he did to Hartley. Now going to try to move on Schwenke in front of him. Schwenke, though, much better exit there of the outer loop. Try to hold that position. Hartley needs to help his teammates a little bit here. He needs to do more of this. Get side by side and push Allen around. Keep Allen from taking the up on the lines. And that is Rathke.
And that was Rathke. Was that the 60 machine that got into Rathke? Yeah, I think that was Chris Thorman.
Wow, that's at the bus stop. Those two getting tangled.
Let's take a look and see exactly what happened here. What precipitated it as they go into the bus stop. There's the 60 machine. Rathke is up in the lead, and you can see Rathke got very loose. Car went around.
So Chris Thorman, the victim, totally in that one. As he had nowhere to go, white car crossed traffic at about 90 miles an hour. Unfortunately for both of them, I think neither one of them are going to be very fast for the next couple of laps.
No, not much the 60 car could do when Tom Rathke came around. Let's take a look at it one more time.
And he didn't contact with Peak?
Maybe, but I thought he might have caught the inside of the curbing, Larry.
Maybe, yeah, it could be that it's very bouncy. Yeah, very tall curbs around there. If you get off of them a little bit, it definitely bounces around. But he was trying to get side by side with Peak at the same time, so luckily it is just those two involved. So yeah, the stewards will look at it, but I don't think there's going to be a whole lot here as the 60th Thorman just had nowhere to go.
No, it could have been any one of the cars on the line there, and he happened to be the odd man out. Let's see if the 60 car brings. Well, we'll see if the 60 car brings it into the pits. Looks as though nope, he is still out. But Tom Rathke's day up. Nope, Chris Thorman bringing his car down the pit lane. Yeah, looks like his race now is done as we only have 5 minutes remaining here at Watkins Glen.
John Allen continuing to be racy, continue to push and push and push and see if he can do something on Schwenke. Let's see if he can run John Allen. He's been very quick through the bus stop, through this inner loop. Let's see if he can get that run and dive to the inside of Schwenke, or maybe he tries to fake him, hit a little head fake, a little bob and weave, and see if he can go to the outside. But Schwenke having none of it, doing his own good job through the bus stop.
Yeah, and Allen the last couple of laps, the advantage he had when he got around Hartley a couple laps ago was he was right on the rear bumper of Hartley coming out of the bus stop and going into the outer loop. Last 2 laps, John Allen has been anywhere between a car length and a half and 2 car lengths back from the 16 machine, not able to make it work.
Hartley needs this. Hartley needs to get a run. He needs to get John Allen off his spot, but he can't. That inside line, you can look like position, but if you can't get on the gas early enough, you're going to be really left out. He's just not able to really push Allen. Allen's still holding position, but at the same time, Schwenke's doing a good job of protecting Mike Dam out in front to ensure that if Allen does get one, he doesn't get the rest. And really teammates working well together. I would suspect 2 laps next time by.
Yeah, I'm looking at the clock, Larry. I think, yeah, if once they come underneath the starter stand, should get 2 more laps here at the Glen. But
and again, all this. Yeah, so go ahead.
I was just going to say, Hartley, I think, continues to run a very safe race here, and I guess it's a question of not wanting to put Schwenke and Dam in harm's way by trying to push the issue with John Allen, especially when when they're going up into the bus stop there, when we could see collateral damage if the 2 of them happen to get together.
Well, he's maybe playing his own game to be self-preservation to hang on to this, because if he were playing the team game, maybe he'd be forcing the issue with Allen to keep him off the back of Schwenke, keep him uncomfortable behind Travis, because John continues to get this run right here and see if he's going to give him a little dupe move, and this time he's going to try the outside. And there he goes. Can he take the lead? We got 4 wide.
4 wide going down into the bus stop as Schwenke ducks all the way to the inside, and that opens things up for John Allen. Big drift for Allen, though. He's going to have to try and cover as they come out of the inner loop and into the outer loop, with Schwenke right behind Mike Dam now dropping back into 3rd position. Hartley still sitting 4th, but as the 3 Orion Racing teammates, Larry, started to maybe check up a little going into the bus stop as they tried to figure out how they could get through without contacting one another. John Allen just attacked.
He attacked big time. He full send all the postage on that one, and I can't believe he saved that. That thing was parked about 45 degrees to track direction across the bus stop. Schwenke had nowhere to go. He had to back out. Yeah. Allen able to recover, keep that thing going. I don't know. John Allen, beautiful move. If he makes this work and he comes out here taking the win, that's the move of the season at this point.
Yeah, but Larry, we're going to have one more lap to go. They're going to get the white flag
about to fly.
Exactly, and John Allen probably not in the best position, being the lead car.
So what can you do if you're John Allen? Because in my opinion, the best thing he can do is to break early into one, yes. Not a brake check break early, but make sure you get the best run off of one that you can get, and then hug the right side of the track all the way to the bus stop.
Well, here we go. White flag is in the air here at Watkins Glen. John Allen is your leader. Travis Schwenke is 2nd. Mike Dam 3rd. Then Robert Hartley running in 4th. A distant 5th. Mitchell Peak with Brendan Horn running 5th and 6th.
John Allen, a pretty good turn in there. You can see he's got an early gap on this, but it looked like Schwenke did what I was thinking you should do. Break a little early, get a great apex, and get a run, because Schwenke has definitely got one going, and he's going to get a push from Mike Dam.
Yeah, and John Allen, he's going to need to drop to the inside. He's not going to do it.
Oh. Yeah, I totally would have protected. He's just given this unless he thinks he can force the issue. Look at the 3 Orions lining up.
Yeah, and Hartley goes to the inside to try and keep John Allen out of it. Loose for the 93 machine as Travis Schwenke comes out of the bus stop as your leader. John Allen manages to hold on to 2nd as Hartley there kind of got out of the train on the inside at the last moment. Probably the last chance that they had to keep Allen back in 4th position. And now as they come down into the boot, only 1, 2, 3, 5 corners to go, Larry.
It is winding down very quickly. Yeah. Schwenke now just has to hit a couple of marks, but look at this, Mike Dam thinking he's got something for Allen. Allen going to try and take to the left.
And the last lap, Allen didn't get a good run out of the toe of the boot.
But he did this one. Look at this. We're going to go side by side through 8, and Allen, if he can hold it, will have the inside for 9.
Oh, but he runs it very well. Here we go, and he does. He's right up to the door of Travis Schwenke, makes an early turn in. Was he going to be able to hold it as they come out to the curbing? And for the moment, John Allen is your leader, but you can see now Travis Schwenke trying to pop to the inside, realizes he's not going to be able to carry the speed through turn 10. Now we've got Hartley and Dam side by side as they come into the final corner. John Allen leads the Orion Racing teammates out of turn 11, and as they race to the line, popping out at the last moment, Travis Schwenke, but John Allen, he takes the win at Watkins Glen for round number 3.
And they need to let Payne continue because he saw the white flag before they saw the checkered.
That's yeah. They've got to get out of the way. They've got to get out of the way here for him to get his last lap. But now in the second pack, it is Mitchell Peak. He's going to lead. He's going to lead Brennan Horn out of the final corner, and Mitchell Peak, he's going to come home in 4th. Brendan Horn will finish 5th. Bobby Childs in the number 88 machine. He is your AM category winner. He finishes 7th. John Allen 8th. Greg Brockway, well, we're going to have a little while to wait for Greg Brockway, I think. Brockway, if he can hold on, he will finish 2nd in AM. There's Greg, as he's got now 2 more corners, but he's got the Frito Sport team right back behind him, and it looks like they're just gonna stay there in formation. And so Greg Brockway, he's got 1 more corner. He's going to finish on the 2nd step of the podium in AM, and coming home in 3rd. Well, a bit of a drag race, but coming home in 3rd is going to be Frito Sport teammate, maybe not. There you go. Mike Taylor will come home in 3rd.
Look like 4 GTs at Le Mans.
Yes, and Edgar Sancinelli will come home 4th in AM. Eric Kleister 5th.
I could have made a reference to the band, maybe Nirvana, 3-piece band, but great run for teams there. As I had been, 2-3 laps ago, I'm awarding the pass of the year to John Allen at the bus stop. I might have to erase tag him pass of the year for the one going through the sole into the heel and making that stick through 9. Unbelievable finish.
Yeah, that pass over at turn 8 was just absolutely breathtaking. All right, so Larry, let's do this. Let's go take a break. Let's thank some of our sponsors, and when we come back, we're going to talk to some of the podium finishers here at Watkins Glen, where you've just seen round number 3 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series presented by Performa Texas Elite Graphics, and we shall be right back.
Allow Extreme Scoring to do the work for you.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
And welcome back to Watkins Glen, where you've just seen round number 3 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series presented by Performa Texas Elite Graphics. I'm Greg Ginsburg. He's Larry Lefty McLeod. And let's do this, Larry. We've got sitting and waiting for us our 2 winners. Hopefully we'll see it, get at least our silver medal silver medal finish. Yeah,
I'll try it again.
absolutely. Yes, the guys who came in second, they'll be joining us hopefully a little bit later. All right, let's do this. Let's first bring in Bobby Childs because we need some comic relief. We'll bring in Bobby Childs. He is actually, you know what? We're going to throw an audible. We've got Greg Brockway now from Team Esport Racer. Let's bring him in. Driver the number 62 machine, finishing second tonight in the AM category.
Hi, Greg Brockway is joining us tonight. Greg, good finish there in the M category. Tell me a little bit about your race.
First third of the race, I had a couple cars wipe out in front of me, close calls. And then my teammate Edgar did a bad job going through the bus stop and got us out of the draft. And after that, though, it was just the three of us on the Frito Sport team. And nobody around us, and ended up with 0x.
That's an accomplishment in itself on a race like this. A lot of contact all around, but to avoid it and go through the race with a 0x for an hour, that's pretty solid. Did see you guys in the Frito Sport team. Were you guys doing the whole formation finish like Ford at Le Mans or something coming across the line?
Yes, we did. I was like 4.5 seconds ahead of them on the last lap, so I'd slow down.
No, we're not going to call a tie based on your starting positions. You're still going to get the second position there at the end of the M category.
That's pretty great.
But no, great to see that the Frito Sport team. You guys seem to be working well together through the middle part of that race. Was there any discussion about trying to make any kind of push there as you guys were working your way towards the pit stop and coming out of there?
We were going as fast as we could, and we just could not catch the guy ahead of us, which they are in pro class. So, and then whoever was behind us was losing ground, so it was just three of us driving around.
Yeah, well, solid result there for the whole Frito Sport team and for yourself to grab that second spot on the podium. Pretty darn good. Anybody you want to give a thanks to tonight?
Well, Apex Racing TV does a great job every week, and XMS Racing's a great league, great people to drive with, and we're all friends, so can't beat it.
Absolutely, a great way to spend the Monday night. So congrats to you, Greg, on your second place finish here in the M category. We'll see you again in a couple weeks.
Okay, thank you.
All right, there you go. Greg Brockway, not from Team Esport Racer, but from Frito Sport Racing. So let's do this. Let's bring in Larry now, our winner in AM tonight, driver of the number 88 D2D E-Racing entry. That was Bobby Childs.
All right, so we've got the winner of the AM category tonight. And we may have to tell John you got to turn the levels down a little bit for this guy. Bobby Childs taking the win tonight in AM category. Bobby, tell me a little bit about your race tonight.
Man, I am just as chuffed as I can be that I was the highest qualifying driver not named John Allen and not on the Orion race team. Like it was a plan. That was a plan from the get-go, because I'm already behind the 8 ball in the AM class. And so basically my goal the rest of the season is to run like MX5 legend John Allen Dean, be the top ND2 guy up with the ND1s, just that red banner on my, the green banner on my car up in the reds where it doesn't belong, because I've got to get as many points as possible.
Awesome job tonight. You're absolutely right. I'll give you full props. Qualifying in the mix to that group was a solid start for the race. You had a couple incidents, a couple opportunities to maybe get shoveled off the track. Were you thinking, hey, I just got to settle down. I got a gap in the M. Let me just make sure I stay in this race?
No, I was thinking I forgot to set my fuel to end button, because I have a button to make sure to refuel the car. And I was panicked a little bit, and so I called in my top crew member, my daughter Haley, to come over and set my pit options for me while I was driving in that pack with this squirrely car. I had to let a couple people by me because, I was doing multiple things at the same time, trying to not die, and in an utter panic because I lost Road America to Jeffrey Cranston simply by having a bad pit stop on fuel. So I wasn't going to have that happen again.
No, Haley did a good job making sure that you had all the tools in the toolbox to make sure you did this race. But you mentioned the car getting squirrely on you. We talked a little bit about that. Tell me what your feeling is of the car and the updates on this, what it's like to drive this car.
let me be as PC as possible because I know iRacing doesn't like
That's
it.
why
when
I'm asking you.
talk bad about iRacing, but this car is
because
not what
when
it
you
needs
need
to
an
be.
answer, you go to Bobby Childs for the PC answer. Of
Yes,
course.
yes, because I'm always calm, cool, and collected, and I don't have Tourette's at all. Shit. But no, the car right now is the best thing I can say is it's not where it needs to be. It's not where it's been in the past. This has been one of the best cars on all of iRacing. It's been absolutely spectacular, a great entry into the platform period. And right now you can see a 20% drop in participation across all the service in the car because the car is that hard to handle right now. We know loose is fast and comfortable is slow, but this car is unpredictable and it's going beyond uncomfortable to sketchy and nervous. And it's not what you expect of the MX-5. I hope iRacing takes to heart all the feedback that they're getting about it, and we get this car back where it needs to be because it really has been one of the absolute best cars in all of iRacing, and it deserves better than what it is right now.
Well, I will say you did an awesome job despite the twitchiness and looseness of the car. I agree the car is a little bit loose. I'm looking forward to it coming back into play, but loose is fast might be your way around this place because it worked for you tonight to be able to take the win in the AM category. And Bobby, I know you got some folks you want to thank.
I've got to Chris Allen, not Chris Allen. That's one of the dudes I work with, Chris Thorman.
Yeah.
Our team sponsor and our setup guru. He has really come on setting these cars up. And if you ask him what you need to do, he says, I don't know, I just click things. But the setups he gives us right now is why D2D's pace is picking up. He gave me a setup. I made a couple of tweaks to make it a little less twitchy, and man, it was just fantastic. You saw how well it qualified. Really, I honestly did not push hard in the race because I'm really running for AM honors. I didn't want to mess with the pro guys, but there was more pace that could have been gotten from this car. So I got to thank Chris for that. And of course, my other teammates, David Payton, he had a rough night again. Brendan Horan had an awesome race with Mitchell Peak right there on the last lap. I certainly hope you guys caught it. And of course, my daughter Haley, without whom I would have finished this race on pit road.
Well, make sure you buy her some ice cream for your crew chief or something because she did do a good job to make sure that your pit stop worked.
Rocky Road.
Flawless.
That's a good
Awesome.
days of
Road,
Thunder
yep.
reports.
All right, Bobby. Well, congrats on the class win tonight and the good result of your teammates
I appreciate it. Levels, sibilance.
We better cut him off.
1, 2,
Thank you,
3.
Bobby.
Somebody cut his mic.
All right, Bobby. Congrats on the class win. We're gonna get on with the rest of the interviews, but thank you, and you're always welcome to join us whenever you back out.
There you go. Bobby Childs, a man who doesn't deal well with change, driving the number 88 D2D racing machine. He takes the win tonight in AM. And again, congratulations to all our AM podium finishers. Bobby Childs, Greg Brockway, Mike Taylor, your top three. All right, so let's move now over to the pro category. We are going to start off with Travis Schwenke from Orion Racing, driver the number 16 machine. He finishes second tonight at Watkins Glen.
Travis Schwenke has joined us, and Travis, you've had a couple of rough rounds coming into tonight. You needed a good result, and what a battle it was right up to the end to get you on that second step of the podium. Tell me a little bit about, especially those last couple laps with John and the rest of your teammates.
Yeah, it was a lot of patient game and me realizing I just needed to finish, after last week. I qualified second like 4 times in a row and then just messed it up on the first lap of that Suzuka race. So I just definitely wanted to finish and not tangle with anyone. And we got that early break and then we just kind of rode it out for a while. And of course, Rob, and then we're mixing it up. I just kind of sat back and waited and saved tire, and which really didn't matter, but we were trying to get some information on these new tires as well. Then it was just a battle. Rob had to save a little fuel, and he said it's time to go. So started racing hard, and I just missed the toe on that last lap. I just cooked it on the entry and gave John a run. I thought giving him the outside was the right thing, which normally it isn't because he was kind of missing that corner usually. I thought he'd push wide, but he nailed it, and I couldn't get the run out to get the clear sign. If I would have got the clear, I definitely would have put the block on and tried to hold the inside then for the next corner. But he held it great on the outside, and It's just not much I could do then.
He had a great run down there in the boot on that last lap to be able to get you on that outside. But when he went around all three, or at least two of you guys there on the prior lap going into bus stop, and it looked like he was 45 to track right in front of you. Are you thinking the race is over?
No, because I saw him do it earlier in the race too. So I figured he had it as long as he didn't hit that grass on the outside. So I thought he was as long as he didn't touch that, I thought he'd save it again, and sure enough, he did. But yeah, he was thrown in there. I was just telling him in the other room that definitely in this new car, I'm not as comfortable throwing it into bus stop. I mean, we were throwing it in, but not as hard as he was at times. I see the car seems to take a weird set if I'm not with straight wheel going over that first entry curb. So I just tried to play that to my advantage or play that to play safe and not do anything stupid through there.
But a great race. It was a lot of fun to watch. Really good result for you there. Finally able to get yourself into a podium finish and get some good points for tonight. So I got to ask you, anybody you want to give a thanks and a shout out to?
Definitely shout out to Ryan and teammates there. We've been working hard for some other stuff and had to do this work as well and get us set up. So good collaboration getting us set up that we thought was good. And then, of course, Rob at the last minute runs something totally different to get some more information, but that's great for us.
Yeah, I mean, team working together, that's always the best way. So congrats on the second place finish there, Travis, and we'll see what the next round brings.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. Travis Schwenke, driver the number 16 Orion Racing Machine, finishing second tonight at Watkins Glen. So now let's move over to our winner. Taking the win at Watkins Glen International tonight, John Allen, driver of the number 101 Seamless Racing Machine.
All right, John Allen, I know in real life you do a lot of coaching. Do you ever do drift coaching? Because it looks like you had a little bit going on tonight. Tell me a little bit about that race and the mayhem in the last two laps.
Yeah, no drift coaching. I'd be open to receiving it because I was not comfortable in that situation. If it looked it, then yeah, shame on you. You're fooled. But I did not intend to be quite that loose. I'm notorious for making changes between qualifying and the race to my setup. It's a terrible habit, and everyone teases me about it. I did it again tonight. Didn't like it. Should have left it alone. But just, while there's time to tweak, I can't help myself. So
but did you take tires at your stop or just stay on them?
I stayed on them. So that was certainly a part of the challenge, hanging onto the tail when they came by. And I thought, if anything, I fueled heavy and maybe that was just the paranoia of this being the last track that I did run out of fuel during a race in. But I didn't get practice. I was out of town this weekend, and so I thought, I don't know the number and I can't trust the number in draft early, so I went what I thought was heavy and would have sputtered on the cool down lap if I took it full throttle. So I it's a good thing I did, because I'd have been wrong if I cut it close.
Well, I was giving you all the praise for the full send pass into the bus stop on the second to last lap, until you went to the outside from the toe to the heel on the last lap when you had duped them all into thinking that you weren't fast there. How did you make the car stick around that outside?
I turned in about 100 feet earlier than I needed it to move and hoped I didn't hit Travis. It did not bite for a while. I knew I was weak there too, but I also knew that in that spot, it's so often that I'm working against the collective, right, of their team, and that's a tough spot to be in. So I knew that Travis would probably give Mike the draft just out of habit and being a teammate, but I had just enough of a run out of the hill already and a bit of his draft that when he moved, I would be able to probably break and get presentation. So I thought, I don't mind that a bit. I just have to keep the nose in there, and I somehow I did. And I still had to nail the last turn because it was pretty loose there too, and I thought he easily could have got me back if I didn't get that split.
Yeah, amazing race to watch. Everything from the offset pit stops, you not taking tires, it looked like the Orion guys did, but at the end of the day, you guys were still nose to tail, 4 cars deep right there at the end, an hour into the race. And what a finish, a great finish for you, and a pretty good points result to go with what you already had. So congrats on that. I'm sure you got some folks you want to thank for this one.
I'll be thinking later. I was telling the guys I'm sore from real racing this weekend, and not so much from that, but from the kart race that my friends convinced me to do and the wreck I got in on the kart track. So So tonight I'll probably be thinking some form of adult beverage for a good night's sleep when it's all said and done. But maybe I'll fall asleep to the broadcast. I hope we put on the show it felt like.
Well, I hope we're not boring enough to put you to sleep, but it was a very fun race to watch and to call. And congrats on that victory. Should have you in the lead now in points after 3 rounds, but it's a long season to go. And hopefully the car settles down and get a working setup. Everybody's looking forward to working with this new tire model and trying to get this thing down. But you managed to make it work tonight and take the victory. So congrats on that one, John.
Thank you guys. Thanks. Have a good night.
All right, there you go. John Allen from Seamless Racing, our winner tonight at Watkins Glen International. And so, again, let's see, John, if we could throw up on screen the final finishing order here tonight. Taking the win, as we mentioned, John Allen from Seamless Racing, Brendan Horn finishing second, Robert Hartley finishing in third, Mike Dam fourth, Mitchell Peak fifth. And not to discount Brendan Horn finishing in sixth there, but let's move over to the AM category where Bobby Childs takes the win, finishing seventh overall. Greg Brockway finishing second in class. Mike Taylor finishing third. Edgar Sancinelli and Eric Kleister finishing fourth and fifth. And got word from as Bobby Childs said, he needed to get as many points as possible. I think he's now actually moved up quite a bit in the championship. Although Jeff Cranston, who was sitting in the chat, warned Bobby during the interview that he was coming back. Matter of fact, right now, John Allen, after 3 rounds, leads the Pro Category Championship. Brendan Horn, Robert Hartley rounding out the top 3. And in the AM category, now Mike Taylor and Greg Brockway, the 2 Frito Sport Racing drivers, are 1 and 2. Bobby Childs moves back up into third in class, and he's only 6 points out of the lead. So, Bobby, there's still a chance for you, man. All right, so why don't we wrap things up here? We've had a couple of questions from people in the chat, how they can sign up and be a part of the Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series. Well, the first thing you can do, if you want to find out more about all of the Ricmotech road racing Ricmotech Road Racing Series, if you go to xmsracing.com/road, you can do that. But in particular, if you want to sign up for the Classic Sprint Series, and I believe we're taking entries through the start of our next race, which is in 2 weeks, you can go to xmsracing.com/CSS-registration. And you can submit the form there. So let's take a look at the events that we do have coming up, Larry, next week, October 10th, Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, as always. The Ricmotech World Challenge returns. That's our GT3 and TCR cars for round 3 of 7. It's going to be at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. This is the race that was originally scheduled for last week. That entire World Challenge schedule got pushed back by 2 weeks, and it is going to be our first endurance race of the season, 90 minutes up in Ontario at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. And then in 2 weeks, October 17th, come back and join us. The Classic Sprint Series, our MX-5 racers, will be back. We're going to be at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca for rounds 4 and 5 of the championship. Our first two 30-minute sprint races with the inverted field for the second race. Always a fun time. It would have been just as fun at Suzuka a couple of weeks ago if it had happened, but such is life. We'll start those. Yeah, sorry. I'll be quiet. All right, but we'll start that up at Watkins Glen, and then of course don't forget to join us come January for the Ricmotech Sports Car Series. Our GT4 and TCR drivers will be back on the scene. Can't give you the schedule yet and where they're going to be, but again, we'll be starting our next season up in January. So
those folks in the chat looking to get signed up, definitely look to get signed up for that, but maybe even for the World Challenge. We're only in round 3, so
that's it.
There may be some spots available. Go and check that out.
All right, so for Larry Lefty McLeod, for John Robertson, standing in for Jonathan Grabowski tonight, and I think John's going to be with us for a number more weeks this month. Great to have him here joining us. I'm Greg Ginsburg. We'll see you next week at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, and have a great week, everybody.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.